No wonder that in 2021, San Francisco issued only 2,000 permits for new homes. Sure, there are people living in the streets, but that's because we want to make sure the apartments they don't live in are perfect. I don't fear AI anymore because it couldn't possibly be any more robotic than the humans who run things now.
Bill Maher has officially had it with the woke left. And honestly, who can blame him? On a recent episode of Real Time, he ripped into the progressive obsession with endless bureaucracy that's choking America's ability to actually help the environment. In classic Maher fashion, he didn't just critique it, he roasted it. He exposed how the left burns through mountains of money while accomplishing almost nothing. It was a brutal takedown with zero room for excuses. Let's break it down.
To get anything done, it's that we're not allowed to. Of course, there should be consideration of the environment on everything we build, but as so often happens on the left, they seem to have no ability to recognize when they've taken a concept way too far and are in fact hurting their own cause. America's become Gulliver, the giant that got tied down with 1,000 tiny ropes by Lilliputians, the horde of little people who do big damage. Build back better? Sounds good. So does shovel-ready jobs. Yeah, exactly.
Maher opened by blasting the woke left for smothering America's progress under layers of red tape and pointless bureaucracy. He said Biden's Build Back Better plan wasn't about building or improving anything. It was just a bloated maze of committees, procedures, and paperwork. According to Maher, it showcased government inefficiency at its finest. Every step forward required endless forms and approvals, and in the end, the plan would have helped bureaucrats and contractors far more than everyday Americans.
Once said one of the biggest lessons he learned as president was there is no such thing as shovel-ready projects. Environmental impact statements used to be a few pages long. Now there are thousands of pages of legalistic nonsense and take an average of 4.5 years to complete, with thousands of bureaucrats filling out millions of paper forms that kill hundreds of forests to answer the question, is this good for the environment? In San Francisco, the city's so nice you'll step in poop twice.
Obama campaigned hard on shovel-ready projects, promising immediate action once he took office. But that promise collapsed fast. He later admitted there were no real shovel-ready projects because everything was buried under regulations and long environmental reviews. Even today, the left's heavy reliance on environmental impact statements keeps major projects, like the Keystone XL extension, stalled under the Biden administration, despite their potential to balance development with environmental protection. And the irony? The government produces mountains of paper every year just to print these oversized EIS reports. It's bureaucracy defeating the very goals it claims to protect.
There's an area where homeless people were urinating and defecating, and it was starting to annoy the people breaking into cars. So the city tried to build a public toilet last year, but then gave up when the cost hit $1.7 million. Not $1.7 million for a public toilet system, $1.7 million for one toilet. And this wasn't some magic toilet that catches your phone when you drop it. So then a private company took pity on San Francisco and offered to build them their toilet for free. But after, quote, project management, construction management, architecture and engineering fees, permits, civic design review, surveys, contract preparation, and cost estimation, the free toilet was still going to cost almost $1 million.
And that's exactly where the public's frustration peaked. Under the Biden administration, even the simplest projects were buried in layers of bureaucracy, turning basic tasks into costly disasters. It became one of the key reasons voters eventually pushed the DNC out. People were tired of watching tax dollars disappear into endless paperwork. Something as simple as building a public toilet turned into $1 million ordeal thanks to permits, reviews, zoning, and inflated contractor fees. That's not governance, it's government in chaos. Americans wanted solutions, not red tape. Instead, they got a system where progress stalled, and every small step forward came with a massive price tag.
Cisco is actually proud of being impossible. Asked about the toilet, a spokesman for the Department of Public Works said, "We are a city of public input." Okay, but I'm stepping in public output.
San Francisco's open defecation crisis has become downright embarrassing for a city that boasts progress and compassion. Streets once full of culture are now marked by human waste, while residents beg for solutions. Yet every attempt to install public toilets gets buried under endless reviews, funding battles, and procedural delays. It's a perfect example of good intentions crushed by bad systems. People just want clean, safe streets and a sense of dignity. But as long as the city stays tangled in its own red tape, one of its most basic problems will keep playing out right in public.
The median time to get approval to build a house there is 627 days. That's 217 days longer than it took to build the Empire State Building. You need 87 permits, 15 from the Planning Commission, 26 from the Public Utilities Commission and the Fire Department, 19 from building inspectors, 17 from the Public Works, 10 related to public spaces, and 1 from a guy in a t-shirt that says Federal Boob Inspector.
It's honestly disheartening. The more advanced we become, the harder it seems to get anything done. We've wrapped progress in so much caution, political correctness, and red tape that projects our forefathers finished in a year now take twice as long. And this is happening in an age of AI, smartphones, and microtechnology. Somehow we can build machines that think, but we can't build a simple road without drowning in paperwork and protests. Progress is being slowed by procedure. Our tools are stronger than ever, but our systems are weaker. For a generation that prides itself on intelligence and innovation, this level of inefficiency is hard to understand.
Wonder that in 2021, San Francisco issued only 2,000 permits for new homes. Sure, there are people living in the streets, but that's because we want to make sure the apartments they don't live in are perfect. I don't fear AI anymore because it couldn't possibly be any more robotic than the humans who run things now. So
San Francisco and California are deep in a homelessness crisis, yet building new housing is slower than ever. Instead of speeding things up, the system buries every project under permits, zoning rules, environmental reviews, and endless community hearings. It's almost designed to keep people on the streets. And that's the real tragedy. These are wealthy, world-class states with billion-dollar tech hubs, yet they can't meet the most basic human need, shelter. Tents lining sidewalks have become a normal sight, a symbol of failure hidden behind good intentions. California could be a leader in affordable housing, but instead, it leads the nation in red tape and excuses.
let me finish with this. Not that there was ever any reason to build it in the first place, and not that there would be any reason to do it again. But just as an exercise in realizing how far we've regressed as the can-do people, I think we should all try to imagine how it will go down if we tried to sculpt Mount Rushmore out of a mountain today. First, we'd have to make the mountain handicap accessible, so we could hire handicapped people to work on the side of a mountain. Then there'd be a 10-year delay while we studied the effect of construction noise on the mating habits of woodchucks. Then another 10 years to obtain ethically sourced dynamite. And find a sculptor who doesn't only work from home.
Bill highlights an important truth. The number of permits and regulations required to build anything in America has become excessive. We've turned progress into paperwork. Our ancestors built railroads, bridges, and entire cities with far fewer resources, and they actually got things done. Today, bureaucracy acts more like a barrier than a safeguard. It delays innovation, stalls solutions, and leaves urgent issues untouched. Look at San Francisco's sanitation crisis. The city doesn't need more committees or meetings. It needs action. Every delay makes public health and safety worse. If officials spent even half the time building solutions instead of filling out forms, the streets would be cleaner, the city healthier, and real progress finally visible.
Then another 2 years to apologize for being on Indian land. And finally, after 50 years and a cost that had ballooned to $100 billion, we'd have half a nostril, and it wouldn't be Lincoln, it'd be Che Guevara.
It sounds funny, but it's true. Bureaucracy is meant to protect people and the planet, yet it often does the opposite. Even when it helps, the results are tiny, just the illusion of progress. Take electric cars. Decades of subsidies and tax credits haven't made a huge environmental impact. Electricity still comes from fossil fuels, and battery production leaves its own mark. While we feel green, the planet barely notices. Real progress doesn't come from paperwork or performative policies. It comes from effective, meaningful action.
I feel like it wasn't that long ago when you could watch cable news for a day and not get the impression that this whole place was totally batshit. That simply was not America. Florida, yes, but not America. So let's examine what makes sane people feel this way. Sane people who are, after all, still the vast majority, and who are the ones who, I assume, just voted me the most trusted man in America. That is a real headline.
You might not agree with Bill Maher on everything, but one thing's clear. He's consistent, honest, and fearless, even when challenging his own side. That's rare today. Maher calls out hypocrisy, dissects issues with wit, and delivers balanced commentary that millions respect. His critique isn't political, it's common sense. From failed shovel-ready projects to San Francisco's open defecation crisis, bureaucracy has replaced efficiency. In an age of technology and intelligence, we still can't build a toilet, a house, or a road without drowning in red tape. America needs action, accountability, and courage, not more committees. Love him or hate him, Maher's message is simple. If bureaucracy keeps winning, progress will always lose. Hit like and subscribe for more.